Angelou once said, if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerdy Optometrist, a podcast channel for all things optometry. This is your host, Ukti Vora. Our guest for today is an entrepreneur with a working background in a reputed media and a brand consultancy firm before venturing into self promoted ventures that span from a retail branding agency to holograms, manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, packaging, printing, cafes, and a few more diverse fields. Currently, he is also an accidental editor of Optician India Magazine, a curator of a major exhibition in India called the International Optics Fair. His name is Mr. Madhur Gupta, and it's a pleasure to have him on this special episode focusing on the media and the changes in the eye care industry. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for being part of this podcast and a warm welcome.
Thank you, Ukti. Thank you for having me here.
So I really like how you had written in your introduction of you being an accidental editor, and there is an amazing journey and a story behind it. So let's directly dive into how did you end up being in the eye care or the optometry field?
See, I started off with my own venture in the retail branding space in 2007
Mm-hmm.
and started working with a brand called Johnson and Johnson for their branding requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So started off with a major conference in Amritsar, I remember still, and there I was introduced to the field of optometry. Therein, made a few connections and started off, curating this exhibition since 2016. And post that, there were a lot of interactions with a lot of people in the industry, and there was a gentleman called Dr. Subhash Bansal
Mm-hmm.
who owns the magazine,
Right,
and he was of the view that I should be running this magazine, but there were lots and lots of preoccupations, and since COVID, uh, we got a lot of time to start off with something.
right.
However, still I did not venture into this magazine space because of the simple reason that I was not sure whether we will be able to pull it off. We did a small webinar with a few industry leaders in the month of April and early May.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, what we found out was that 5,000 odd optometrists and opticians were watching it live,
Wow.
and the kind of response that we got was immense and phenomenal.
Right,
Basis that the confidence of running this show, I got that confidence that we could be able to pull it off properly. So in we started off with the first digital edition
right.
in the month of July for the
Mm-hmm.
April June quarter, and that magazine turned out to be a game changer for the media space in India, especially considering that about 38,000 odd opticians and optometrists read it for an average read time of over around 16 to 17 minutes. So I guess
Wow.
it's a kind of a record of sorts. And even today, as we are talking, and we are at the cusp of launching our luxury supplement. Our magazine is a two-part edition. Basically, the first part is the main magazine, which gets printed as well,
Right.
and the second part is the luxury supplement.
Mm-hmm.
So these two spaces that we have entered into has helped us a lot in terms of generating, developing, and establishing a connect with the industry, wherein we found that there was a lack of
Mm-hmm.
complete content, as in even the earlier
Mm-hmm.
version of the magazine, the Optician India, was basically a mouthpiece for an exhibition that we used to do.
Right.
So now developing the content has helped build that connect.
Right. And make it more relevant for the readers.
Yeah.
I feel you should continue attending every conference because we also connected during the IVI International Virtual Conference. So I feel you attending conferences, they're definitely helping the industry. So
See, IVI is a kind of an initiative that I felt was very close to my heart. And
absolutely.
when we had a chat with Mr. Vinod Daniel and Mr. Shekhar, so both of these guys had a enthusiasm which was way above ours actually.
Right.
And I felt that and surprisingly, with just the first edition out of the digital space, we were the official media partners for them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the kind of passion the entire IVI team works with is phenomenal, and I couldn't have agreed how amazing they did pull together this entire virtual conference. It was amazing.
Amazing, amazing. Yes.
Right. Now, coming back to, how you mentioned that you have seen the media change, like you all actually set records on the number of views and the number of people reading this, your magazine. Can you tell me how do you see the media changing in the current scenario, pre to post COVID or during COVID?
See, the changes have been happening over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Post COVID, there is an accentuation to the same need which has been there in the requirements of the readers, basically.
Right.
What I feel is that, since the advent of technology, there is a lot of possibilities which have started up coming up, in the sense that rich media can be accessed more freely, and you know basically accessing a magazine offline
Right.
without the need of having a physical copy in hand,
Mm-hmm.
and that too having the same person talking instead of giving an interview in written.
Right.
All right, so having a person in front of you talking to you directly is
Right.
a possibility which was ignored earlier.
Absolutely.
Now, when a brand also talks to an audience directly rather than through a medium,
Mm-hmm.
now that is what I feel has connected with the audience as well as the brands both ways.
Right, absolutely. I wouldn't have seen or read your magazine had it not have the digital version of it. So I have to agree that how much I was able to stay updated with what is happening in the industry just because there is a digital version of a magazine. Though I do miss the physical copy and the feel of the paper, but this definitely we need to evolve with time, and I think this has been a very very positive change in the entire media.
So, surprisingly to this aspect, sitting in US, I have got few people like David Rips
Right.
also, who has been reading the magazine, and he has been reviewing it as well, and he sent me message directly that even this kind of a magazine is not available in the US. So reviews have been pouring in from all quarters, wherein if it would have had been a physical magazine, I don't think it would have had stepped out of the boundaries of India.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The technology definitely has a huge scope of outreach and expanding the scope of, how many lives you can touch and contribute towards the industry. Absolutely. That's a phenomenal story that you shared. Now, talking about like again media, while we're on the topic, media has suddenly become not the mainstream media, but through social media, and people are creating content all around. Do you feel that is actually helping people understand or adapt to this digital version of the magazine?
Yeah, I would say that maybe India being a country where there is a lot of penetration of social media and mobile phones now.
Mm-hmm.
With this mobile revolution started off by Geo, wherein almost all sections of society have a phone,
Right,
and that too with an internet on it.
right.
So that has helped a lot, I guess. Yes.
I have to say about the internet, it is sometimes much better than what we have in the United States. So,
Yeah, in India, surprisingly, I found to my surprise that there were a few people whom I was least expecting to have a mobile phone who
uh-huh.
were using it. Here in India, you have housemaids, and you have
Right,
people who deliver vegetables to your house or something. So these people are using internet-enabled services,
right.
and everybody is on WhatsApp.
Now, can you share? I do know that you did. highlighted some of the success stories, but I'm pretty sure you would have a lot more to share when we're talking about adoption of these new media platform and technologies within the industry.
See, within the industry, I find the opticians, especially as well as a few optometrists, are not in India, especially, are not very aware of what is happening around.
Right.
In terms of they are. I would not blame the opticians or the optometrists, since that the government has been formulating a lot of policies since it's coming into power. The government has been constantly on the roll with newer initiatives every year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Now the opticians and optometrists are mired in the changes, the level of needs that they are, the regulatory requirements have changed, the environment has changed, there is a constant change in their practices due to COVID again, and now considering all these aspects, I would not blame them for not being updated of what is happening.
Right.
However, in technology, as we were discussing earlier as well, there are a lot of new advancements in telemedicine. Then there are new advancements in AR, AI, and VR technologies, which the normal retailer or the normal opticians or the optometrists are not even aware of. In
Right.
India, what they mean by digitization is to go on social media, promote their website, or to talk to interact to their audiences through a social media platform is what digital means to them. Most of them,
Right.
right? Rather than having a wholesome approach of having a fully integrated digital platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So here, what we have initiated is a Power Talk series.
Right.
Uh, in this Power Talk series, we have been talking to various retail as well as AI experts from international forums who have helped us develop idea or a perspective about how to go about digitization in the retail space, especially the eyewear segment.
Nice. Yeah.
So we have been sharing these thoughts. We have just started with the series,
Mm-hmm.
and we have started sharing these with the opticians.
Mm-hmm. Here, I actually must congratulate and kudos to the entire team taking this initiative, because being a media or a magazine company, it could sometimes be like, why would you do a webinar or a series? What I have seen is there's a lot of series of webinars coming for optometrist, which is so solely focused on the clinical aspect, but the segment that you are focusing is a very crucial segment in the eye care industry, which is opticians, and that segment which sometimes get a little less information about these technologies. And these series, as you mentioned, I think are phenomenal as a concept, and with the kind of viewers and the outreach you have, I think I would like to congratulate you and the entire team for coming up and taking care of this segment of the industry.
Thank you so much.
Now, I do know, building something or creating something from scratch where, first of all, you were not very even sure of whether you would fit into this background, and then, writing these success stories. If you would had to share about like some major hurdles or limitations that came across working in the eye care space, what would that be?
Okay, most of it was the inertia. Basically, I would say talking to a person who is say in the age range of around 50 to 60, and a person
Mm-hmm.
who feels that that person is in himself or herself an expert in their field,
Right,
right? So getting to connect with such people is a bit difficult, where you are telling them that you are a bit behind
right,
what is happening. So now the tonality, and the content needs to be developed and curated in such a manner that this content gets accepted by that audience,
right.
right? So that was the first major challenge that we were facing. Second was obviously there is a lot of politics in India, in especially in the field of opticians. There is
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it, and multiple, this space, especially the magazine space, has been run by a few major media houses who have been in the industry for about 35, 40 years.
Mm.
So establishing yourself and placing yourself along with those people has been a difficult task for us, at least.
But I have to congratulate again the way you shared your success stories. I definitely see those hurdles or the limitations is what your media house has turned it into an opportunity.
Actually, I would here, I would say that, there has been a phenomenal support from the brand side. Actually, I would really say that, without their help and without
Mm-hmm.
a few individuals like Ramachandran ji, who helped us develop a perspective. So these people helped us a lot actually in the initial phases where we were not even thinking of, launching a magazine. At that
Right.
stage, they helped us develop a perspective, basically, of the industry as well as how to go about it.
That's wonderful. Now, I actually want to spend a little time talking about the luxury segment. As you know, we did discuss this a little bit offline, where you mentioned that the luxury segment in eye care or eyewear is really missing. Can you highlight a little more and share some insights on that?
Surprising to all, actually. What I found was, during the exhibitions that we started curating, we found that
Mm-hmm.
the luxury element was completely missing from the Indian space, in the sense that, the luxury segment, eyewear especially, brands used
Mm-hmm.
to shy away from exhibitions or shy away from publishing their content in the various magazines, considering that the suitability of their audiences and the suitability of the media for those luxury brands was not there. That is what I got to know from the interactions which I had with the brands.
Right.
Now, this space was very keenly watched by multiple media houses as well as ourselves, but there was a, lack of connect between the luxury brands as well as the audiences. There
Mm-hmm.
was no medium available.
Right.
So we thought of, it's just in the nascent phase, as in, getting the right brands, getting the right experts, as in,
Mm-hmm.
there is a dearth of experts in the luxury space. In India, you will not find too many people from the luxury segment in eyewear, especially. You will get luxury experts from
Right.
various other, garments
Right.
or other accessories, watches, jewelry, but you will not find too many experts from the eyewear segment. So
Mm-hmm.
to create content for eyewear specifically, it
Mm-hmm.
has been a challenge in the luxury space. Yes.
How can an optometrist or an optician contribute to the media in this evolving time? Probably the luxury segment or the digitalization of the media overall. Can you share something that you would want them to contribute to?
See, basically, earlier on, what used to happen was that we used to invite the contributions from various opticians, optometrists, as well as the researchers, students. So these people could help generate content and share it with us, and we used to publish it as it is. Nowadays, what we have
Mm-hmm.
started doing is we have developed a list of topics that we would want to cover in the coming editions. And we
Mm-hmm.
share it with our contributors that these are the topics that we would want contributions on, and basis
Mm.
the contributions we curate and develop that content. And surprisingly for us, in these editions that we have been able to generate a lot of interest from the contributors.
Oh, nice.
So we receive entries, say around, last time it was around 800 in the first digital edition. We received about 800 contributions, and in the second edition we got contributions above 2,400.
Wow.
So now that is again taking a lot of time to sort through and find the right content to publish.
Wow, but that is phenomenal. Like the numbers that you're sharing from 800 to 2,400 plus, I feel that actually talks about the outreach, the kind of content you're putting out and what people are actually connecting with, so that they would want to contribute and say, hey, you know what, this is what I want to share with the audience. So I think this talks volumes by itself.
Yeah, definitely. But then, I would say that, it is basically it's a participative medium where people would
Mm-hmm.
want to, it's kind of an your own magazine where you are yourself reading it and you are yourself helping develop the content.
Right. I really liked how you mentioned, like, it's your magazine where you are working as an industry together to build it and grow it and share ideas. Now, talking about the future, how do you perceive the future of eye care media to be in India?
It has to be more engaging, and it has to be the content has to be relevant. It cannot be brand driven, it cannot be a narrative of an individual, it has to be the narrative of the need of the hour basically. So
Right.
when we are talking about issues which are currently the current issues which are being faced by the opticians, optometrists, and the experts from the field, and when we are talking about, even if they are not very popular, when we are talking about what the opticians are facing, and what the optometrists are facing, when we talk about those very pertinent issues, then automatically it's the talking point.
Right.
And you
Right.
start getting eyeballs, you start. So if the content is relevant, obviously that content is going to be consumed.
Absolutely. I think that is so important, that always trying to create more and more relevant content in something that connects with every reader, whether it's a fresh graduate or a student who is like probably 20 or years old, or someone who is 60 years old with 30 plus years of experience in the industry and still feeling that it connects to them and there's something they can learn from. I think that's so true. And I think that's why people always say, right, content is the king, whether it is movies or scripts or whether it's media or articles that we're trying to connect with and share with the people. I think we did speak a lot about the media and about the work that's done. Now let's go to my favorite segment, which I like to call the rapid fire, and
Okay.
and learn more about just you. Okay, so as every show talk show that you might have seen, the rapid fire has just one rule: quick question requires a quick answer. So that's all I'm looking for. So it has to be rapid and the first thing that comes in your mind.
Okay.
Perfect.
I hope you are going to be gentle on me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right, starting the rapid fire. First question. Just because you're not from an optometry or a healthcare industry, which media do you prefer more? Eye care, healthcare versus the other industry where you came from. What is your preference now?
Still, the preference is with the other industry, not with eyecare.
Okay. Well, all right. Talking about food, which is your favorite cuisine?
I like Lebanese.
Ah, interesting. Nice. All right. If you had to share one good thing that happened during the COVID time, what would that be?
The launch of the magazine.
All right. I when I actually was writing this question, I had this thought in my mind. I'm pretty sure this is going to be your answer. All right. Wonderful. Your favorite destination?
Seychelles.
Oh, nice. Lovely. Love the beaches. All right. If, because you are from the media as well and you actually do webinars, but if you had a chance to interview a celebrity live or dead, who would that be?
Shahrukh Khan.
Ah, nice. All right. What do you do during your downtime? I do know you're super busy with every other work that you do, but what are your hobbies or something that you do during your downtime?
I play guitar. I play guitar, and I used to sing also sometimes. So
Ah, interesting.
that's a bathroom singer only.
I, I don't trust that piece, but good to know. Good to know. All right. Next question. If we were to write an autobiography about yourself, what would you like the title to be?
Okay, this one is very interesting. I would say that it will be more of the changes which occur in an individual over a period of time.
Okay.
I'm coming from the aspect that when I started off studying, I started off with the aeronautical engineering. I started off with, and then I ended up doing computer science in engineering in computer science. Then afterwards, I did my MBA, and after that a fellowship, and then started working with the media house. Then if you would see in my bio, I myself at sometimes point of time we get confused, what I am doing right now.
Well, I have to mention that whatever you have touched, you have succeeded and been a master in it. So probably we should title your your book something like Master of All, and then we'll have list of things that you've been able to achieve in your skill.
It would be rather, jack of all trades.
Well, wonderful. But they do say, right, there are something some learnings that are transitional. So whichever industry you work with, if you're passionate and if you put your 100%, you can excel. That shows on your journey so far. So great.
Ideally, what I feel is that, when you incubate an idea, that idea would start, it'll take about, say, three to about 4 years time. So
Right.
whenever you incubate an idea, my way of doing things is that, I incubate an idea, I develop it into a full scale project, and then hand it over to my employees whom I have hired during this period.
Nice.
So that's how I switch on from one project to the other,
Oh, so you're
and I then
actually
move on.
that's actually a sign of a true leader. So, well, we have multiple titles for your autobiography. Now we just need someone to write it. All right.
I don't think we have grown into that level where a biography could be written. No, thank you for this question. Yeah.
So, last question. If there would be one thing that you would like to add or change, for the in the eye care industry, what would that be?
I would rather, want or I would appreciate if the current optician, starts listening more. Right?
Mm,
That is what is lacking in India, especially, wherein even the current students or the future leaders from the industry. I would, request all of our audiences to be more proactive in listening
right.
and to observe the changes what are happening. What I
Right.
anticipate in the coming future, as few panelists from our large discussion in the webinar series that we did were for the digital debate. uh,
Mm-hmm.
they said that, in anticipation of what is being talked about your brand, your practice by your customers, then what your competition is being talked about your by your customers, and what kind of actions are going to be likely taken by your customers. That level
Right.
of expertise is available to certain brands.
Right.
Now, if we don't listen, we don't observe things, we might be a lot behind these brands.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a wonderful point of, listening and being aware because that can actually help grow and be successful, whether you are an individual optician or a optometrist as a practitioner versus like, a brand by itself. I think that's a phenomenal message that you shared. Now, that was the end of a rapid fire. As promised, I wasn't too harsh or, no controversial questions. I hope you enjoyed it.
Definitely, and it was a surprising question about the autobiography. Set me thinking.
That's wonderful. Well, glad we could have some amazing time. Before I let you go, if you would have to share one takeaway message or your success mantra, what would that be?
I would say that with the changing times, we need to change, and this change should be positive. This positive change
Right.
comes with the habit of observing things around. And
Mm.
as I said earlier, listening is one thing which needs to be developed as a practice.
Absolutely. I think they were wonderful takeaway, even though I did ask you for a final takeaway, but throughout the interview, there was so much to learn from you. Thank you once again for spending this wonderful time with me and sharing the insights about your success stories and how things are changing in India, especially in the optical segment. I truly appreciate your time.
Hope we are able to bring in that change, which is really required.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fingers crossed, and good luck to your entire team at Optician India.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure.